And we're going to move right ahead with our keynote speaker of the evening, Governor Eric Holcomb. Wow, I got to tell you, this is a packed house. What a fantastic night for Republicans in Hamilton County. Well done. Thanks to Chairwoman Laura Campbell, Raju Chintala, who's the treasurer. Kim Good, where are you? Raju, stand up. There you go. Kim, where are you? Here we are. It's a fantastic thing, and the governor in his remarks earlier tonight talked about the amazing success in getting out the vote here in Hamilton County that the Central Committee has pulled off. Laura, what a great leader. Thank you for doing it. It makes a difference. With that, I get to introduce another great leader, longtime friend of mine, Kyle Huffer. You know, it's funny. I remember, now I suppose I've got to call you Chairman Huffer and Governor Holcomb. It wasn't that long ago that it was Kyle and Eric. And now they're out doing great things for the state. Most of you know Kyle as Chief Administrative Officer and General Counsel at Indiana Mills and Manufacturing in Westfield. Additionally, he's State Chairman, obviously we know that. And by the way, you're killing it. Sweeping all the statewide, both houses, the Senate and the House. Well done. The governor, I think he might have gotten elected on his own, but well done. Kyle served as 5th District Republican Chairman, the Director of the Indiana Department of Natural Resources for Governor Mitch Daniels, Chairman of the Indiana State Fair Commission, a partner at Frost Brown Todd and Ice Miller before that. He graduated from Manchester University, where he served his team as captain of the school's NCAA Division III runner-up basketball team. He hasn't been a runner-up since. And he obtained his law degree from IU School of Law here in Indianapolis, where my oldest is attending right now, Kyle. With that, come up and address this crowd.
Thank you, Terry, and thank you, Laura, as well, for having us out tonight. It's a real pleasure. Love being in Hamilton County. It's only a 6-minute drive for me after work, so that's always a benefit on the Lincoln Day circuit. I don't know about you, but my 2018 election euphoria has not stopped. It's actually 2 crazy election cycles back to back. In 2016, of course, our governor became vice president. President Trump beats Hillary Clinton. Eric Holcomb wins a 106-day campaign. It's really hard to top that. But 2018 was close. We knew going in we had a top targeted Senate race, which means we had money, we had the largest paid staff in Indiana Republican Party history, we had volunteers, we made 2.5 million voter contacts, calls and doors, and we had President Trump and his rallies. Those were personal highlights for me. I got to speak at 3 of them. That is probably as close to being a rock star that I'm ever going to get to become. I could have read Dr. Seuss, and I think people would have broke out in applause. And if you ever lost your way, you just had to throw out a name like Nancy Pelosi, and the whole crowd would boo for 5 minutes. We should try it. But in the end, it's not just about the experience. They do count up the votes at the end to let us know how we did. And to be honest, the score was pretty lopsided. We held all 7 seats in Congress, including your own strong Congresswoman Susan Brooks. We held supermajorities in the State House and Senate. We elected Connie, Kelly, and Tara back into their positions at the State House. Here's one you may not have heard. We now hold over 80% of local county offices across the state, including 89% of county commissioner positions. And they say we gerrymander. I guess we're going to have to redraw county lines. And most importantly, we retired Democrat Joe Donnelly and elected Mike Braun to the U.S. Senate. There's no longer a single Democrat holding statewide office in the state of Indiana, and we intend to keep it that way. I think we're strong here in Hamilton County going into the 2019 municipal cycle. We have 3 successful incumbents in Mayors Brainerd, Cook, and Fadness seeking to continue in office. I'm confident we will hold those 3 positions. We'll also fill the Noblesville mayor spot with a Republican, and we'll give each mayor majorities on their councils in the process. The Indiana Republican brand is strong across the state, and like your elected officials here in Hamilton County, Governor Holcomb is working every day to make that brand even stronger across the state. He's doing it by focusing on his pillars and people. I'm biased, so don't just take my word for it. Look at the polling we are seeing every time someone's in the field. Governor's consistently above a 65% approval rating, and his disapproval hovers around 20%. That's an outlier among elected officials right now in this country as we look at the polarized political environment that we find ourselves in today. He's doing the hard work he was elected to do and making the tough decisions he was elected to make, and he's connecting with Hoosiers on a personal level each and every day. He loves being governor and it shows. And as a result, Indiana is leading the pack. I could spend the next 5 or 10 minutes listing accomplishments and records achieved over the last 2 years in Indiana, but instead, let's go ahead and bring him up so you can hear firsthand all that he's doing to take Indiana to the next level. Our Governor, Eric Holcomb.
Do you need one that works?
Well, you've been back in Indiana about 18 hours from a long trip. Why don't we start with that? Let folks know how Europe was.
Well, it was 4 different countries in less than a week, technically speaking. I got home just before midnight last night. We were in France, Germany, Belgium, and pit stopped in Luxembourg. And we were in exploring some new frontiers, so to speak, and in some different places and spaces than we've ever been. We did government-to-government meetings with the ambassadors of France, Jamie McCord, met with the ambassador of Germany, Rick Grinnell, ambassador to Belgium, Ron Gidwitz, and the ambassador to NATO, Kay Bailey Hutchinson. And then we did some people-to-people, some cultural exchange type meetings. And then, of course, we did a business-to-business and cultivating some relationships and looking into some areas that we think fit nicely on Hoosiers Link. So it was a very, I would say, in 2 words, I would describe it as very productive and promising.
Let's see if this works. Awesome. Well, I know you really enjoy being governor, and obviously people really like you, but let's talk about the 2 most popular Holcombs in Indiana.
Can I ask you a question? Because obviously you wrote my introduction, but it seems like when you highlighted that you were the captain of the 5th grade basketball team, did you write your introduction?
I didn't. That was Terry Anchor. He must have done his own research on that. I don't think it was 5th grade. I played a little bit longer than that. But, so let's talk about the 2 more popular Holcombs. First Lady Janet, and of course the most popular Holcomb, First Dog Henry.
Clearly. I was asked about my dog. In Germany, he goes by Heinrich in Germany, but the dog has about 88, I follow this, I'm a little paranoid or nervous, but the dog has about 8,800 followers on his social media platform. Been invited to weddings, been invited to do fundraisers, and
that you weren't invited to.
That I was clearly not invited to. No, they said, you don't need to be there, we just want Henry in our wedding day. So Henry gets along, he's doing just fine. Janet as well, she is throwing herself into her First Lady duties, and she's focused on 4-H and Girl Scouts, and she's on the FBI Citizens Advisory Board, and she serves on the Riley Children's Hospital Board, and so keeping busy, hyper active in terms of her interest in art as well, all over the state of Indiana. She has 2 art degrees. This is the family business. She was a vice president of a family business up in Madison County in Summitville, Indiana, before we embarked on this journey. Still misses that, but that'll be there when we're done with this.
So I know there's not really a typical day, but people ask you all the time, so maybe give folks color about what a normal day is like for you.
Well, there is, like a lot of people in this room, I mean, you just don't have a normal day, you don't have a typical day. Those are gone. You have, overseeing a state government of over 28,000 employees, various agencies touching various aspects of Hoosiers' lives. 0.6 million Hoosiers are affected in some their state government. We hope it's a positive experience. You have the governor has a lot of ceremonial, official duties that take a certain percentage of your day, and you can plan those out far in advance. Commit to those events 6 months out in advance. We're scheduled out quarter by quarter by quarter. I can tell you where I'm going to be in 7 weeks from now, every hour of the day. And then when you get to that day, like a mayor, it changes, and you have to be able to not just expect the unexpected, but you have to be able to rock and roll with the cards that you're dealt that morning. And so things shift around for sure on an almost hourly basis, but we're getting it done and having fun along the way.
What's your vision for the state?
Fairly simple, and this is something that we met with, I would say, north of 100 CEOs in those 4 countries over the last week. And I lay that out every day because it aligns with usually their vision as well for their company. And I simply want to make Indiana the absolute best state in America in terms of opportunity to grow as a person, as an individual, or as a family, or as a business, as a community, and therefore our state. And if we get those things right, we will continue to grow. We're in an inbound state right now. We turn that corner. The states that surround us are not. They're losing population. We're gaining. And our business climate is growing, obviously, year after year. We're breaking records year after year. And it's created a different problem for us, and that's filling up our workforce so we can continue to feed that growth. But that's that vision or that mission is what those pillars are all about. They're strengthening our economy and our ecosystem and adapting to a 21st century economy, strengthening our workforce and strengthening the infrastructure, how we connect with marketplaces around the world, attacking, as Congresswoman Brooks so eloquently pointed out, attacking the opioid epidemic with greater force than it's attacking us, and then making sure, as we've been recognized nationally, for delivering good state government service at a great taxpayer revenue.
So I know recently you got to work the drive-through at the Cone Palace in Kokomo. I know that was a lifelong dream. And you spent some time.
I'll do it again too, by the way.
And you spent some time at Willie's and Willie Nelson's RV after one of his concerts. Leaving those aside,
what happens in Willie's bus?
Leaving those aside, what's your favorite accomplishment so far as governor?
Accomplishment? There's a list. I mean, if you talk to any office holder, I think it would be, it's not just one thing, it's obviously continuing to grow our economy is a big accomplishment, because that just doesn't mean we're in the right direction, it means we're being chased, and this has turned into almost a magnet to where people want to invest in a place of certainty and stability and predictability, and we have the continuity that goes along with that, or an aspirational state. So when I go in and I'm hustling and pitching the state of Indiana, the feedback that we always get is one thing that they love about Indiana is we're aspirational. We're trying to take it to the next level. In everything we do, we measure everything. So literally, before that workforce development advisory board meeting at the White House, I was with a company and was talking about Indiana. We had some storms and some high winds, and this is a true story, the night before I left, that high winds came through here and tore up a sign near 70 and 65 that shows the exit for the Benjamin Harrison presidential site. And it was all torn up and twisted and turned, and someone sent me the picture and said, is there anything that NDOT can do to try to fix this? It just looks trashy. And I said, yeah, let me talk to somebody about that. By the time I had that meeting the next day, there was a brand new sign up. And it may seem little or small or insignificant, or we'll get to it, but that quickness, and I was able to share that. Like we pay attention to the price of coffee, we pay attention to every sign, we pay attention to what's needed to be tended to, and we're building for the future. And so the list of accomplishments is long in terms of our ecosystem that's maturing, in terms of, I say we measure everything, and Congresswoman Brooks nailed overdoses is, the trajectory is bending down ever so slightly. So we're moving in the right direction in specific areas around the state of Indiana. For the first time, our infant mortality rate is starting to actually bend down, and it's because we're attacking it as well, and we're going to do more even yet this legislative session to continue to draw that down. We had 623 in 2017 infants that they weren't able to celebrate their first birthday, and so that number for the first time is not ticking up, it's ticking down. I'll give you another example of something we measured real quickly, and I think about this in terms of the spectrum, the diversity of the state of Indiana. You go from a place like Scott County, Indiana, Austin, Indiana, which was the epicenter for an epidemic of its own, HIV and AIDS cases in 3 years ago. That one county, small rural county, Scott County, represented 29.5% of all of Indiana's new HIV/AIDS cases. Fast forward to this year, it's down from 29.5, it's down to 1.5%. This is huge. And so that is something that, this is a team effort for sure, but on the ground level, these are things that are saving lives. And for that, I'm extremely proud of the team, their accomplishments, because it's really, like I say, it's changing lives. And then I'll just say this, and this is kind of lost in a whole shuffle of the noise, but I'm proud of the fact that with 28,000 plus employees as a state government, if you're directing this question specifically at me, we've managed to not, I always say, and I've said with my gubernatorial colleagues, that we all wake up every day with an equal opportunity to step in, to make a mistake, to take the bait, to get off course, to lose focus. And the state of Indiana, for years upon years upon years, we've remained focused. And Craig Smith, CEO of FedEx, once famously said, the main thing is to keep the main thing, the main thing. Kind of profound, but true. And that's what we've tried to do and focus on, in my case, those 5 pillars.
So I noticed you tried to work into that answer. Your new BFF, Ivanka, said she invited you to be on her workforce board. Can you tell us, A, what it was like to hang out with her a week ago, and how else you're interacting with Washington, D.C., or the swamp, depending on your persuasion, and how that's going?
Do you not think a kid from Claremont can relate to Ivanka?
Your parents bought your way to school too, right?
Yeah, right. You've met my father. That is, I'm flat out impressed. I'm not surprised, but I am impressed with Ivanka, with Secretary Wilbur Ross, the president, the vice president, all of which were in that meeting of 25 board members like the CEO of Siemens, board members like the CEO of Visa, Lockheed Martin, the Boys and Girls Club, the president, the head of the Boys and Girls Club, community college system, all over the country, 2 governors, Kim Reynolds of Iowa, myself, the mayor of Charlotte, 25 people who are out to get it done. These are people that don't have time to waste. This is an action-oriented, checklist of where are we going to be in the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next 9 months, and what are the deliverables? And I think the reason why, and a lot of credit goes to the legislators that are in the room right now, you rewind the tape, and you think about the state of Indiana, where we were and how fast we've gained ground, because we said, we've got to redesign the whole system, the whole workforce development system. Workforce development is economic development, and it is the piece right now where when someone's looking at investing anywhere in the world, this is one of the top 5, 6, 7 questions. They're typically the same 6 or 7 questions, and folks are looking at investing where it's the lowest risk profile to their business. And for Indiana, that means we have to make sure we have the workforce supply to meet those demands, and that's exactly what the Trump administration has really just locked onto understanding that in this roaring economy, in this uber competitive period for employers and employees, skilling up our workforce is the key to it all. And so fortunately in the state of Indiana, this is a good problem that we have. I mean, it's of our creation. We got this economic ecosystem coming. We are a magnet. We've got the infrastructure program in place to where we're connecting now, whether it's in the air, on land, or on the water, unlike we've ever had in our state's history. But it's that workforce box that we got to check, and it's that million that we've got to retrain or reskill or skill up over the next 10 years. That is part of the challenge. And then it's K through 12. It's that pipeline. We got to make sure there's no leaks in that pipeline. But we've got 450,000. I sound like a skipping record. We got 450,000 Hoosiers out there without a high school diploma. We got 540,000 that started college and quit. We got 27,000 in prison. It's a $758 million hit to our budget for those 27,000. Every time we get the testimonial, someone that comes out of prison skilled up, that's making 40, 50, 60,000, and they are, as welders, as finishers, as operating a machine. This is transformational. This is moving the have-nots into the have category. This was something that was very interesting to me. As you can imagine, these three countries really, France, Germany, and Belgium, we were there at the exact time when they were doing the vote on Brexit the first time and the second time, and then they came back for a third bite of the apple. But they were talking to us mostly about trade and tariffs. That's where the conversation would get to, and the uncertainty that existed. And the first night I was there, I had CNN International on in the hotel room, and the story, how if you watch that for 20 minutes, it's on a loop. It just replays everything. And they went from the UK Brexit to the Yellow Jackets, which I saw in Paris on a Saturday, the Yellow Jackets in Paris, and then they went to Venezuela, and then they went to the Congo, actually, the Machete Boys, and they went to South Africa, the unrest that's going on there. And it was like, the unrest around the world, not to mention Iran and Russia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when people were thinking about uncertainty that exists in the world right now from a community perspective, and where are those safe havens and zones, there's no better place in America. There's no better place. And so we are going to come out on the other side of these renegotiated trade deals in a much better position to just kind of land the plane with. That's why we were there. That's why we showed up. One of the ambassadors, Ron Giddens, I'll share this because he said it publicly. He said, I've invited every governor I've talked to come here and look at Belgium as a launching pad. These folks, they've got the EU there, they've got NATO there, and we were looking into some of this space because we've got so many incredible military facilities around the state of Indiana, all around the state of Indiana, that don't have the encroachment issues that so many others do. And we're looking at some testing sites, et cetera. And Ron Giddens, Ambassador Giddens said, Holcomb's the first governor that's taken me up on this. Another one who I won't name, although you can figure it out, he said, who is your competition out there? What governor down here hustling as much as you are? And I actually think it's our neighbor to the south, Matt Devin, who is hyperactive too around the country. Fortunately for Indiana's part or our benefit, he's got a raise on his hands this year, so maybe he won't travel as much. But he is out there working hard. But you don't win unless you show up, and that's what we've been doing, and it's paying off.
Well, let's lighten it up a bit as we kind of conclude the evening. Are you having any fun?
Well, you can tell I am. I mean, I try to see Joe Herons is here, my general counsel, and I always preach to anyone that works for me, try to lead by example. You keep the fun and the function. Life's too short to not smell the roses along the way. And by the way, if you are having fun, if you are doing good out there, you should smell the roses. And it's infectious. A lot of the talent that we attract to come work want to be part of something much bigger than themselves. This is a fulfilling job and an opportunity that I'm very proud of.
Well, we made an announcement from the campaign at the end of the year that he had $4 million cash on hand, a record for a second-year governor. We're streaming live on Facebook tonight, our first for doing that at a Lincoln Day.
Thanks for telling me now.
Any big
As we wind up, we're live.
Any big announcements you want to make this evening, or?
No. No. Now, we fortunately, the legislators, in their infinite wisdom, and they did us all a favor, and you all too, by the way, and they prohibited candidates from during a budget session from raising money, and I've tried to live by that in many different ways, and so my announcements will wait till after my focus. I think if you focus on the job you got, it makes all the decisions and questions will be answered easier.
So it's been a great evening. Thank you guys again for having us, Terry and Laura. We'll end our conversation, as we do several of these I've been to with you, by just kind of opening up to talk about the Hamilton County Republican Party and Hamilton County itself. Obviously, you've spent a lot of time up here. Let's just close with that.
Well, there's, I would say, few. Therefore, I'll include the next county I'm going to be at tomorrow. There are few counties in the state of Indiana who have been such an engine to our state's economy, who have fit the pieces together so perfectly. Every time you read about something that at least it's coming out of Hamilton County, you have the safest cities, you have the best schools, you have a dynamic economy, you're very diversified, you're very welcoming, you just check all the local boxes that make someone want to move from anywhere in the world here. And when you partner that with what's going on at the state level, that is a powerful combination. And one that you just simply can't get in too many places in the country. And so for that, I'm eternally grateful. And by the way, the folks that you're electing from Hamilton County, that you continue to elect year after year after year after year, this really plays to our strength. And it allows us, enables us as a state to show off our state everywhere I go. And so for that, for the 30,000 vote margin you gave me in 2016, I'm very thankful. I'll never forget that. But it's as I look out and see the faces that over the years have stepped up into the gap and showed some courage, got out of their comfort zone, and said, this is about, if you got 2020 vision, this is about the future. And we're not going to settle on where we've been or Carmel's playing tomorrow, 3:30, Penn up in Lafayette, and they're not settling for past championships. This has inspired me. And it's because of the folks that are in this room, and now we got to go get it done at the municipal level, so that, as Susan Brooks said, that momentum carries over into the big one next year. So with that, I bid you good night, and thank you profusely from my wife and myself. Thank you.
They could call that dropping the mic. Well, you're still Kyle and Eric, but damn, you got a lot done this year. Thank you very much. Let's give them another hand. It's fortunate because following what the governor just said about innovation in our cities, now I'd like to bring up Mayor of Westfield, Andy Cook.